I don't feel like waiting a year or a year and a half. We're going to start building.
President-elect Donald Trump promising quick action on some of his big campaign pledges. More rain and flooding in Northern California, but experts say we shouldn't get excited about what it means for the drought.
It all has the same basis of pride of our history, of our community.
And a beloved San Diego community park is designated a National Historic Landmark. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. Donald Trump held his first news conference as president-elect today. He began by blasting media coverage of an unsubstantiated report that Russia has compromising information about him. He called it fake news. Trump covered a lot of topics in his news conference, including how he will hand his business empire over to his sons and isolate himself from any of its dealings. Trump also talked about one of his big campaign promises to build a wall along the border with Mexico. He says he wants to get started right away.
I don't feel like waiting a year or a year and a half. We're going to start building. Mexico, in some form, and there are many different forms, will reimburse us, and they will reimburse us for the cost of the wall. That will happen, whether it's a tax or whether it's a payment, probably less likely that it's a payment, but it will happen.
Trump also promised financial consequences for American companies that send jobs out of the U.S.
You want to move your plant, and you think, as an example, you're going to build that plant in Mexico, and you're going to make your air conditioners or your cars or whatever you're making, and you're going to sell it through what will be a very, very strong border, not a weak border like it is now. We don't even have a border. It's an open sieve. But you're going to sell through a very strong border. Not going to happen. You're going to pay a very large border tax.
And Trump promised quick action to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, saying both would happen essentially simultaneously.
So as soon as our secretary is approved and gets into the office, we'll be filing a plan. And it was actually pretty accurately reported today, the New York Times. And the plan will be repeal and replace Obamacare. We're going to have a health care that is far less expensive and far better.
Today, Trump also announced another cabinet pick, this one for Secretary of Veteran Affairs. He chose David Shulkins, who is currently the VA's Undersecretary of Health. Shulkins would be one of the first holdovers from the Obama administration. Trump still has one cabinet post to fill, Secretary of Agriculture. Today, he also said he'd nominate a new Supreme Court justice about 2 weeks after he's sworn in. The president-elect didn't give any details about his policy plans today. KPBS investigative reporter Amita Sharma talked with political analyst Carl Luna about what we heard and what we didn't.
So President-elect Trump has said he wants Congress to repeal the Affordable Care Act almost as soon as he gets into office, and that he thinks once his cabinet is in place that he can come up with a replacement. What are the chances that that will happen?
Well, if the replacement plan looks like Obamacare, acts like Obamacare, smells like Obamacare, tastes like it, it has the no pre-existing condition, has the universal mandate in some form, has the ability of state subsidies, he can do it quickly. He simply calls Obamacare Trump care, done, we move on. Substantial reform, this is why the Republicans haven't come up with anything in the last 7 years on it. It's a very difficult knot to untie unless you just say no health care and then you move on and watch markets collapse.
A big part of President-elect Trump's campaign promise was to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border and get Mexico to pay for it. He now says that this wall will still be built, but it will be taxpayer funded, and eventually Mexico will pay for it. How feasible is that?
Well, building the wall can be done if you get Congress to allocate the money. Now the question is how big, how are you going to structure it? You could do this. We already have walls in place over a lot of the border. The Mexican financing aspect, you can't make another country pay for something. You can slap tariffs and taxes on as much as you want. Then comes a trade war. And one of the things nobody's looked at is what happens on the other side of that wall when you build it. Mexico right now is on the progress of becoming a failed state. Do you really want to encourage that over the next 4 years?
Moving on to this bombshell that came out yesterday, U.S. intelligence officials are seeking to confirm reports that Russian operatives have compromising information on President-elect Trump, financial information as well as personal information. But even without that confirmation, they've put details out there. What does that say about how credible they think that this information is?
For this information to come forward was an attempt, according to intelligence agencies, to not just let it be leaked out there. It's a sign that there are things that have to be addressed, and how you deal with that. There is a danger the president-elect is compromised. If everybody knows about it ahead of time and he can get through the scandal of it, then maybe he can become a functional president and the Russians lose their blackmail over him. This is a situation I have never seen in my adult lifetime looking at politics. The potentially substantial allegation that the chief executive of the United States is compromised by a foreign power. This is the stuff of an HBO or a Showtime miniseries, not usual presidential politics.
Now, Trump has said that he plans to separate himself from his businesses and have his sons run them. Does that resolve any ethical or conflict of interest questions?
It resolves them to a small degree. He can say, look, I'm not day-to-day managing the fortune, but he plans to go back to his businesses. Usually the price tag of becoming president has been in the modern age a recognition that the country comes first, my personal finances way down the pike. This president-elect has not yet made that clear separation. And as such, there will be continual questions about why he is making decisions for his own well-being or the nation or both. It's a form of gray area we're not used to having in presidential politics.
Finally, Trump has said that he will still not release his tax returns. He says that the only people who are interested in those returns are reporters. Is that true?
Well, right now, some 70% of the public in polls say they don't care about his taxes, they don't care about Russia, they don't care about his businesses, they just want to see if he can do something good for America. In 6 months to a year, if his administration is not delivering things, the public is going to care more and more about it. Lawmakers have to care about it because there is a ticking time bomb in there. He is actually strongly influenced by foreign powers. We have the possibility of presidential impeachment and other extra constitutional actions that can occur with a president who's seen as a clear and present danger to the nation. Releasing his tax returns would be a step forward in taking that off the table. Until then, people will speculate, and the speculation can turn nasty fast.
Carlina, thanks so much for speaking with me.
Thank you.
PBS NewsHour will have much more on Donald Trump's news conference today and on the confirmation hearings for his nominees for Attorney General and Secretary of State. That's coming up tonight at 7. President Barack Obama bid farewell to the nation in an emotional speech yesterday. Associated Press reporter Mark Smith says the president sought to comfort a country on edge over the political changes ahead.
To bid farewell to America, President Obama came to the city where he first entered politics.
It's good to be home.
And after 8 tumultuous years, he said the nation's better off by any measure than when he took office.
Today, the economy is growing again. Wages, incomes, home values, and retirement accounts are all rising again. Poverty is falling again.
Yet this was a grayer, more battle-worn Obama than the one who took the stage here 8 years ago, the night he broke the White House color bar. For one thing, he's ceding power to a foe bent on reversing his efforts.
I committed to President-elect Trump that my administration would ensure the smoothest possible transition.
For another, the nation is, if anything, more politically divided than when he found it. And he says it's also not yet post-racial.
For too many of us, it's become safer to retreat into our own bubbles, whether in our neighborhoods or on college campuses.
Obama warned debates less and less tethered to fact, and common ground is vanishing.
Our founders argued, they quarreled, eventually they compromised. They expected us to do the same. But they knew that democracy does require a basic sense of solidarity.
Yet for all that and his party's crushing election loss, Obama told his most loyal backers he retains his faith in the American people and their power to bring about change.
And it's not just my belief. It's the beating heart of our American idea.
By the end, he was wiping tears, drinking in the echoes of his last hurrah. After Obama's term ends next week, he'll be back here before long to build his library, and with it, he hopes, his legacy. Mark Smith, The Associated Press, Chicago.
And as President Obama prepares to leave the White House, San Diego Council member David Alvarez joined 60 other local officials nationwide to urge the president to issue a pardon for immigrants living in the U.S. legally. He signed this letter today asking the president to, quote, ensure fair treatment for permanent residents with minor or old convictions. Immigration rights advocates say President-elect Trump has proposed the most sweeping deportation program in decades.
We're talking about legal permanent residents here, which President-elect Trump has all but said that they are eligible to be deported under his plan, his deportation plan. And so this would keep roughly 200,000 legal residents with protections in the United States so that they would not be sent to their country of origin.
Nearly 100 immigrant rights groups also asked the president to use his pardon power for this purpose last month. California Senator Dianne Feinstein is recovering at home after getting a pacemaker. The procedure was done yesterday after a confirmation hearing for Attorney General nominee Jeff Sessions. Feinstein is the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee. In a written statement, the 83-year-old says the procedure went smoothly and was done out of caution. She says she'll be back to full schedule soon. The rain is back today and more is expected tomorrow. It's a situation San Diegans are starting to get used to. The metro region has gotten 6 inches in the past 2 months. That's about 2 inches above average for this time of year. But Alex Tardy with the National Weather Service says while we're on pace to put a big dent in the drought, it's too early to get excited about its end.
We still aren't seeing our reservoirs move much locally. And that's an indication that the ground is still absorbing water, that we're still in the midst of this now 6 years of drought.
Tomorrow's storm is not expected to be anywhere as heavy as we've been seeing in Northern California this week, where heavy rain and snowfall is causing flooding and other problems for residents. But the rain is filling up the reservoirs. California's Department of Water Resources says levels are at 97% of normal for this time of year. Last year at this time, they were at 50%. The biggest gains are at Lake Shasta and Lake Oroville. Water managers do not expect the governor to call an end to the drought conditions anytime soon, as southern parts of the state remain relatively dry. Now is the time to get your flu shot if you haven't already, and health officials are imploring people to do just that. 4 more people in San Diego have died from flu complications. This brings the flu season death toll to 9. County health officials say the victims were all over 60 years old with pre-existing medical conditions. The number of confirmed flu cases this year is nearly triple the number from the same time last year. 4 states had measures to raise tobacco taxes on the November ballot, but only California's Proposition 56 prevailed. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg takes a look at what proponents did to push California's initiative over the top.
Supporters of the $2 pack increase in California's tobacco tax face tough odds. Voters had rejected the 2 previous attempts to raise the tax. And this time, tobacco companies ponied up more than $71 million to defeat the measure. But supporters put together a strong coalition. They raised more than $35 million. Deborah Kelly of the American Lung Association says they came up with a powerful ad campaign.
We had very effective messaging that basically asked voters, who do you trust? The tobacco industry or your doctor, dentist, Cancer Society, the PTA?
The cigarette tax hike received 64% of the vote. It goes into effect on April 1st. Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
State lawmakers are once again trying to get more time off for new parents. The new Parent Leave Act calls for up to 12 weeks off for parental leave for people who work in small companies. Backers say it's a win-win for companies and employees.
We find that it creates greater loyalty, that there's less turnover, that there's less need to replace people. The costs associated with training are reduced. You have greater loyalty and greater productivity.
Governor Jerry Brown vetoed a similar bill last year, citing concerns for the impact it would have on small businesses. Lawmakers say they hope to work more with Brown this year to get him to sign off on the measures this time around. Well, Charger fans are going to have to wait a bit longer to know whether the team will stay in San Diego or join the Rams in Los Angeles. Owner Dean Spanos was given 2 more days to make a decision. The deadline was January 15th, but NFL officials say they changed the date because it falls on a playoff weekend, and the following day is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The new deadline is January 17th. A slick commute tonight for San Diego drivers, followed by even more rain this week. Shanae Shocker has tonight's forecast.
Pacific storms continue to drop quite a bit of rain across much of the California coast and inland towards Northern California. But for us here in San Diego County, we are seeing just a couple of showers, maybe a sprinkle here or there, but a lot of that heavier rain held off towards our north. But we are going to be seeing some of that cloud cover and some of that rain move on in throughout the rest of this evening. So tonight, shower 2 in the forecast. We'll continue to see that onshore flow, 54 degrees for our low. So it's going to remain quite cloudy as well. Taking a look at the rest of the county, those showers going to extend into Ramona as well as in towards Mount Laguna. Borrego Springs going to stay pretty dry tonight, but definitely cloudy. We're going to see that heavier rainfall up towards off our north, just north of Oceanside, in towards Long Beach as well. A lot of these rain showers going to continue mostly north of San Bernardino County and as well as north of Orange County. So Los Angeles for Thursday going to get the bulk of that heavier rain with this second system coming on shore. So we'll continue to see that, but snow levels are also going to begin to drop inland as well, and winds picking up as this front begins to push inland. So for tomorrow along the coast, we'll look at some rain, especially off towards the north, but in the metro area, more so looking at just a shower or so throughout the day, but we are certainly going to stay cloudy through Friday with a sprinkle possible inland as well. We're warming back up for the weekend and staying mostly sunny as well. It's going to be a beautiful one out there, so make some outdoor plans. And in towards Monday, we're going to stick into those mid-60s as we head back to work, and a lot of sunshine in store for us. Now we head inland. It's very much the same story here. We'll see some of those showers from Thursday into Friday morning. We'll begin to break up, and we'll see mostly sunny skies. And towards the weekend, it will be in the mid to upper 60s inland as well. Now out towards the mountains, we're continuing to see some gustier winds Thursday through Friday, and temperatures were dropping at nighttime into the upper 20s, so snow showers definitely a possibility early Friday morning. After this front passes through, though, we're going to be seeing those sunny skies return and our temperatures warming back up into the low 50s through Monday as well. Lots of sunshine in the mix, but our overnight lows not so much going to change. We're going to be in the upper 20s, lower 30s. So definitely still quite chilly in the evening hours, early morning hours. Out in the deserts, looking at maybe a spottier shower out towards this evening, but we are not going to be seeing any extremely heavy rainfall here. Out towards Friday as well, a shower or 2 in the forecast. Into the weekend, mostly sunny skies remain, and our temperatures jumping up into the upper 60s. We'll see overnight lows in the upper 30s to lower 40s. For KPBS News, I'm Shanae Shocker.
Would you turn down millions of dollars? One man in North Park has gotten huge offers for his property, but he's dedicated to protecting an artist's vision that she's had since childhood. KPBS reporter Claire Tragesser has more on their mission to keep Queen Bee's Art and Cultural Center from being pushed out of the neighborhood.
When I thought about it and say, oh, you're the Queen Bee, you're the Queen Bee, and I said, no, I'm not the only Queen Bee, so I gotta call this place the Queen Bee.
While Alma Rodriguez says she's not the only Queen Bee, she certainly looks like one. Dressing in yellow and black with big bee-themed jewelry, she's the center of an artist's hive.
There's a lot of Queen Bees and a lot of people that know the need for creativity, and this is what this place is.
She shows off the winding halls that are filled with sources of inspiration, like a mural of Beatles drummer Ringo Starr.
They come and record here.
The space is rented out by artists, singers, and dancers.
We have a kids class, capoeira class, all the way to like seniors dancing.
Rodriguez was born in Puerto Rico and became a music promoter in Florida. She moved to San Diego and started Queen Bees 5 years ago. But she's had the dream of running an event space since she was a kid.
I was 12 years old, and I was playing pool with my friends, and we got kicked out because it was kind of a bar, and we got kicked out. And I told my little posse that one day I was going to open a place that everybody can be together.
It took some time to get there, but she made good on her promise.
If it wasn't for art, it was very difficult to deal with daily life. But if you have something that it makes you feel yourself, and you take a dance class or you come to a point, you have to have motivation in life for everything. And this is the arts and the way I found motivation for myself.
Take big steps forward and then walk it down.
Mishi Anjali teaches everything from swing to parent and baby line dance at Queen Bees. But despite its popularity, he worries the center will get pushed out from North Park.
If we aren't careful, we could lose the arts. Over the last 15 years, I've seen so many dance studios in North Park close, and so many artist studios close and be replaced by restaurants and breweries. And you know, money talks, and it's very tempting just to give in the short term and take the short-term reward for money. But Alma has a greater vision of preserving arts for the people, by the people.
Luckily, it's a vision shared by her landlord.
I think this is a good thing for North Park. And my father was a North Park man, and unfortunately he passed away before he could see all of this development.
Alan Hitch Jr. is the son of former City Councilman Alan Hitch, who was also the president of the North Park Business Association. Hitch Jr. bought the Queen Bees building from his father in 1995 when it was a 99-cent store. Now he says he's offered millions of dollars to sell the space, but he won't.
This is more important to have something like this than to have what am I going to do, sit on the front porch with $2.5 million? You know, I'm getting a lot out of this, just like the people that come here get a lot out of this. I sell happiness here.
Hitch wouldn't say what Queen Bees pays in rent, but says he won't raise it. And as long as Alma Rodriguez wants to stay, he'll keep the building.
Work hard, stay humble.
And Rodriguez wants to stay for a long time. She hopes to one day buy the space and dreams of expanding to other cities. She says art should be cultivated now more than ever.
As we've seen technology taking over our future, I think it's important to people to experience the arts, because if we don't keep promoting it, I'm afraid it might disappear little by little.
She, along with other Queen Bees in her hive, will work to make sure that doesn't happen. Claire Tregesser,
Back step, one more time.
KPBS News.
Ready, go. Back step. Ooh.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour. President-elect Trump's first news conference since securing the Oval Office. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
San Diego's Chicano Park is one of 24 new National Historic Landmarks. KPBS reporter Eric Anderson has details.
Colorful murals of Chicano Park have long symbolized Barrio Logan's struggle. The community actually seized the area as a park in 1970. Residents were upset about plans to build a highway patrol substation there.
And while it was the struggle for this park that caused Chicano Park to come into being, it is now the artwork that carries that message forward.
The nearly 8-acre plot of land with its towering freeway overpasses has served as a cultural and artistic focal point for Barrio Logan and Chicano culture. City Council member David Alvarez says the park tells a colorful story of the neighborhood.
The murals depict that history from the 1970s, from the first takeover of the land to building of the park, to the different fights, if you will, struggles that there has been in the community. And that's all depicted so you could walk through the park and walk through history in a way that you can't do anywhere else.
The park is already one of 90,000 locations on the National Registry of Historic Places, but there are only about 2,500 National Historic Landmarks, and the park is now one of them. Artist Victor Ochoa has painted a number of murals here.
Our first murals were the early 70s, so there was like a lot of different influences throughout that 46 years, different things to say, different styles, and it all has the same basis of pride of our history, of our community.
Chicano Park joins several other National Historic Landmarks in San Diego. They include Balboa Park, the Hotel del Coronado, and the Mission Beach roller coaster. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
The moon may be much older than we thought. A research team from UCLA announced today that it's about 4.5 billion years old. They say the moon formed after the solar system sooner than previous estimates. This estimate comes from rocks and soil collected by Apollo 14 moonwalkers. Experts say knowing the age of the moon is key for understanding how it developed. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.